Where the fuck is McClay?
Yeah. This is the Bogcast, episode 59.
Nope.
Action.
Awesome. This is the Bogcast, episode 59. We are brought to you by Bang Salon. Come get all your hair needs, including cuts, natural colors, vivid colors, extensions, shampoo and stylings, all under one roof at Bang Salon. Find and message Bang Salon on Instagram at Bang Salon, at BANGDSALON. Use promo code
Bogcast
for 20% off your first visit. So come on down and get banged by Jordan. But if you really try to bang her, I'll fucking kill you. What are you laughing at, Alan? Cool.
All right, check out Spotify, iTunes, Google Play. Check us out on there. Make sure you subscribe and like and follow us on there and all your favorite podcatchers. And make sure to comment on this episode. Tell us what you think.
Hell yeah. Well, we have another reoccurring guest, one of my favorite peeps here in Phoenix, Alan Valor. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good. Very, very tired. Very, I feel accomplished that we finished our third segment.
Yeah, man, you look like shit. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, Alan, pull this a little bit closer to you. Brother.
Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah, dude. So last time we talked to you, you were getting ready to shoot the final, I guess, leg of your shoot. What's it been like since?
Well, we just finished last weekend our third story, and now right now Kevin and I are just going to be editing like crazy for the next month, getting it all together, and then January we're shooting the final segment, which is more of a wraparound story that ties all three of these stories together.
Oh, I see.
So
I think it's super badass that you guys are doing that, like the whole, what do they call that type of series?
Anthology?
Yeah, an anthology. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really cool that you guys are doing that. Are you guys shopping that around yet, or are you wait until you get some stuff done?
We want to have a premiere in March, and then as far as distribution, it's still a little up in the air, but we kind of want to do our own thing with it.
I was going to ask you, how does that work? How does like the distribution and stuff, when you're making a project like that, what is the type of thing that you go out and do and to get it to somebody? Like, do you just start sending it to different people? Do you have networking within?
Well, we have a personal distributor that actually does that for a living. Works with selling it to regions where I don't know a lot of the details about it. That's more Kevin's thing, but it's something that we want to have full control over.
Yeah.
And not just, sell it to Netflix or something for some
that makes sense.
sum of money, and then
that makes sense. Yeah, it's your baby.
Yours. Exactly. Yeah.
And it's really fucking good.
Yeah, and we actually want to start like a toy line too for it.
Oh hell yeah!
If it really takes off, I shouldn't say if when it really takes off.
Yeah.
But,
well, shit, you could do that on your own now with the 3D printers and stuff that are out.
Oh, yeah, exactly, and people like Todd McFarlane that's really inspired us lately, because we thought about that. He was involved in comic books, and then he started a toy line, and
that's where he's made all his money from.
Yeah, and now his net worth is like $700 million. Yeah,
it's all because of that. Here you go, brother. And, well, it's funny you bring that up, because the last time we saw each other was at the Todd McFarlane signing.
Yeah, I saw you. I saw you walking away. I was like, how'd he get up there so fast?
Did you camp out?
No, one of the guys that listens to Absolute Geek, who is now a Bogcast listener, my buddy Chad, had been like one of the first 4 people in line. He was there from like 6 a.m. And we just happened to walk up, and he's like, hey, and we're like, whoosh. So that was nice.
Was everyone looking at you like this?
No, it was too early. But again, let's for people that don't know, Todd McFarlane, who's a big comic book creator, created Spawn, probably the most famous Spider-Man artist. He lives here in the Valley, and he does these cool events locally every once in a while, and he had a big event for Spawn. He broke the record for the longest running creator-owned superhero comic book, independently owned comic book, and he gave away like all these extra comics and stuff, but he had like 1,000 people or more show up.
Yeah.
And he went up and down that line and took selfies with everybody.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking cool dude, man.
That's badass.
Yeah, that was really cool. When we showed up, the line was already pretty lengthy, and then all of a sudden, I didn't realize it was him at first, but he just walks out just like a normal guy. You never expect it was him. He goes all the way to the end of the line and starts taking selfies and works his way up, shakes people's hands. And
Is this before the signing?
Yeah. I mean, there was people in line waiting, but he went all the way to the end of the line, and I was just like,
he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Man. I got so much respect for him.
I love when you hear those stories about, I guess, celebrities, and then you hear they're just out, signing things in the wee hours of the morning or just doing those kinds of things. I appreciate that a lot.
You know who's one that I saw a little thing about the other day on the internet, and that's Tom Hardy. I saw a quote from him. He was shaking some dude's hand that was like cleaning up the red carpet area, and he's like, I was told to give as much respect for the person cleaning the building than the person that owns the building.
I've seen that meme in different variations over the years.
Yeah. So that kind of made me think.
I don't think he probably said that though.
He probably didn't, but I could see him being a cool dude.
I think the thing that drives me nuts more than anything on Facebook is when you see someone's picture and then there's a quote and you're like, they never said that.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of that goes around.
But anyways,
there's one that Kurt Cobain. And he predicted Donald Trump in the future and all this crazy shit, and everyone was sharing it. And he never said that. And I was like, what the fuck?
I can't remember the meme exactly, but it said something about the internet will be the downfall of society, and it shows a picture of Abraham Lincoln. It's like
yeah, exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah, making fun of all that other shit. Yeah, yeah, I love that. Yeah, those are the good ones. Right on. So, did he have any limits on what you can get signed and stuff?
Yeah, he only.
So did you have to buy something, or could you bring something?
You could bring something.
What'd you
signed? I didn't bring anything to get signed. So I just I didn't want anything signed. I just went to go get the exclusives. I got so many Todd McFarlane signed books, dude.
I couldn't believe that when I heard you say that.
Yeah,
I was that opportunity to get
everyone's there to get his signature. And he's not.
Right, I know.
Yeah, and so my buddy. So no, I paid it forward because the dude let me skip in line. So I took an extra book of his and got it signed, and then so that way he could get 2 books signed.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You didn't waste the signature.
Yeah, no, I didn't waste it. But I did. Instead of getting a selfie with him, said, "Hey, can I give you this sticker?" And I handed him a Bogcast sticker.
Hell yeah!
So, and I got that cool little video where
I saw that. Yeah.
I didn't see him subscribe yet.
Yeah, he probably won't. He probably put that thing straight in the trash can.
We got to talk to him for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
he held up the line. We told him everything that we're doing with the Dr. Seville horror show and that we're doing a film. Kevin started talking to him,
and he's all into that horror shit, right?
Yeah, because and he kept shaking our hands over and over again. He was he wrote stuff down that we were telling him about.
He's a cool dude.
He spent a lot of time with everybody, you know.
And then
you'll see that.
You got the complete 180 between him, Todd McFarlane, and Rob Liefeld, the complete douchebag. So yeah, there are people out there that are the exact opposite of Todd McFarlane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, you guys are going on that Rob Liefeld hate kick right now.
Yeah.
Is everyone hating on him?
Yeah, they should be because
he's just putting out shitty artwork?
No, well, he's always put out shitty artwork, but he's just an asshole within the community. In the comic community, he just starts a lot of fucking stupid fights, and he's always about me instead of That's why he got kicked out of Image, because those guys are
Yeah, I saw that documentary on Image.
They fucking booted his ass. Yeah. Go do a fucking Spike Lee commercial and get booted. So
he seemed to have gotten successful at a very young age, and
they all did.
Well, yeah, that's true. Wasn't he younger than all of them though? He
might have been. He might have been 18 or 19 at the time.
That success just went to his head, I guess. Yeah.
Well, McFarlane's from Canada. McFarlane's from Alberta. So the funny story about him, he bought Mark McGuire's home run ball.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then he's got all kinds of crazy sports memorabilia, but. To go back to the original part of this that brought him in there is that he made all his money off of doing the toys, and he's genius. There's a really good interview on Complex, the YouTube channel Complex. I think they do hip hop stuff, but it's a master series kind of thing where that Noah dude goes out and interviews just cool people, and he interviews Todd McFarlane, and it's one of the best interviews I've ever seen of his. So if you guys get a chance, check that out. But the toys, and he talks about the toys in it, about how much money he made off the toys, and because people just weren't making realistic looking toys, and he's like, that's
then he
all we
started
wanna
doing
do.
them for like rock
Spawn.
bands,
and
like
now he does
remember
it
the
for every,
Kiss, and then I'm sure maybe even did you do
Alice
sport
Cooper.
ones?
What?
Did you do sport ones at all?
That's what he makes all his money off of, is the sport
all
ones.
making sports ones.
Yeah. And but he does Walking Dead now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
when I was in high school, when the Matrix Reloaded came out, he had the series 1 and 2, and I was so obsessed. I had to have every single one. And I remember Twin number 2, I had to like special order that because that was like a real hard to find one. And the Smith one.
Yeah, there's
Do you
probably
still
like
collect
exclusives.
toys?
No, not really.
But you went through a phase that you did?
Yeah, I did. I think if I had the like the lifestyle that I live right now, I don't have a lot of space, so I kind of live my life accordingly.
That's exactly what happened with me. Like as soon as I got up to a point where I had this space that I could.
This guy has a 5-bedroom house, and I don't even know if he sleeps in his master bedroom, but all the rooms are filled with fucking toys, boxes and cards and
upstairs,
comic books and all kinds of shit.
It's ridiculous. I want to get rid of it though, because I've bought it all as inventory to sell, and I don't fucking sell it. You know what I mean? So I need to just get really working on getting that shit up and making some money off of it. So
you still kind of collect toys, right?
I don't collect toys at all anymore. Right now I'm on a sports card kick, man.
Yeah.
So
we went through.
I always have to collect something.
Yeah. We went through a very hardcore Star Wars phase collectible. Well, at least I did. He's always kind of collected toys and stuff, but during the prequel, when those figures were coming out, I was actually just telling Jordan this, how we were those dorks that one Black Friday. Remember, you could get one exclusive at Walmart, one at Toys R Us, one at Target, and we'd go there. And there'd just be all these nerds waiting out the door to rush in to go grab this exclusive. And I'm like, McClegg, you're going in, dude. And no one's getting in his way, you know what I mean? And then we'd see these 3 or 4 other dorks that we're fighting with to get this exclusive. And then we'd go to Target, and then we'd see those same 3 to 4 dorks, and then we'd be like, hey, did you get this one? And we kind of became friends with them. And then we exchanged numbers, and then we helped each other. But at first we were fighting and pushing each other.
These guys aren't getting shit.
These dorks.
It's kind of like
that was really fun.
You know what's worse than that is the Hot Wheels people. Those Hot Wheels people don't fuck around.
Well, it's funny.
They run.
I met Hot Wheels people while I was collecting Star Wars stuff. Because those guys were insane.
Yeah.
And those are all walks of life.
Yeah. It's
because
crazy.
I'd be going to these stores at 5 a.m, midnight, because we'd be trying to open their boxes before they hit the floor so we could get hard to get figures. I remember the Red Royal Guard, sometimes they would be blue or something like that.
It was short packed in the case they would send out, because there was 2 colors, so the red was always short packed.
Yeah, it'd be the same number figure, say figure 13, but every one out of every 20 would be a blue one instead of a red one.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. We thought that shit was gonna be worth money, but they made so many of those fucking Star Wars figures. Yeah. It's not like the original Star Wars figures where they didn't realize the impact it was gonna have.
Exactly.
So they didn't make a shit ton of them.
Right.
So if I start getting into collecting, I would love to collect the originals. Star Wars figures. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude.
Really go on a hunt for it.
Fuck yeah.
That's why you got to go after those certificate of authenticity where it's it's on print in law, this is only how many are made and however many will ever be made. And
that's what McFarlane did. That was so good. He made those variations where he only made so many of them, and those are still worth money to this day.
I feel like that's what toys evolved to. So when Sideshow Collectibles came out, everything's only 200 this, only this amount of that, just to kind of give it some value, I guess. I don't know.
But anyways, harken back again to the movie the anthology series, it would be awesome if you made toys, dude, and you could see how the reach that stuff like that makes.
Right.
And then people should be doing that with everything they do. They should be making something cool, like that.
You know how they came out with wait, hang on. It was something Sackle. It was
George Sackle.
George Sackle. Remember that figure?
Yeah.
So it was George Lucas.
Yeah.
You're gonna need a
how do you say it?
Ralph. Nellau. Anyway, you're gonna need your own figure.
Nella.
Yeah, Nella.
Nella, duh.
Look at us. We're fucking. You can't have the stoners do shit like that, dude.
Rolav Nella.
Yeah, like
Rolav
I
Nella.
never understood how cops can ask you to say the ABCs backwards
I can't even
because
do it
I couldn't
sober,
even do it
motherfucker.
sober.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're asked the cop, why don't you do it? You do it, and then I'll do it. You're drunk. Get in the car. Cuff him. This guy's drunk.
No, you do it.
That's great.
So, what I like about you guys when you guys do this, your shooting and your filming and all that is just the amount of planning and pre-production that goes on. I don't think people realize the insane amounts of behind the scenes that goes on. You don't just show up with cameras and shoot stuff, you know? So
yeah, I mean, even some of our crew members don't even realize how much pre-planning we do.
And I think the more the better for just when you get on set, right? I mean, you can't prepare. You can have more, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like
Dude, you're killing me. You fucking look at this guy.
I know, he's eating fucking ice on the microphone. What the fuck?
Guy.
Sorry.
Yeah, fucking making movies over there.
Fucking what's one lesson that you think you learned from all of this from this last
always strive for a bigger budget.
That's pretty yeah, Jesus, that sucks.
Yeah, because it's just you really gotta take care of your crew, and you just have to have the resources, and sometimes things don't really always work out the way you expect them to. Like for instance, like when we split it up into two weekends, and the first weekend we shot all the stuff. Basically, this segment is about a couple, a lesbian couple, and one wants to lose some weight, so she takes on this diet. It's a very specific diet.
What is that 30-something diet?
You'll find out.
Whole30?
It's a pill, but it causes a lot of
side effects,
yeah. And so what we did was we shot all the house scenes one weekend in Avondale in this house. And then there was scenes that took place in a dispatch office and a doctor's office, and we shot that all in one area. And the house that we shot it in, what I mean by budget is sometimes, you know, we had a friend who really came through for us, and we're very appreciative of him, but the house was under construction while we were shooting. So we were shooting upstairs, and it was just finished. Like the paint, it was just freshly painted and everything, and we were shooting while painting was still going on right outside the bedroom. And so while we're shooting, we're working downstairs. So the next day, you know, we're going to be shooting downstairs. And while we're heading downstairs, while the movie is traveling downstairs, tile is being laid in.
Oh.
Literally just like 20 minutes before we were shooting down the hallway. That scene I showed you where she's crawling down the hallway.
I mean, they're
like that tile literally just got laid like 20 minutes prior to that.
How do you deal with that?
So were they doing this before you guys got there, or while you were there creating
while
the sound?
we were doing it? So I was.
This is a sound guy's nightmare.
Yeah,
it is. But I was kind of playing AD on set. We didn't really have an AD, and so you know I would just say quiet on set, and they would stop cutting. They'd stop cutting the tile, and they would keep the door shut, and they'd turn their music down, and then we'd shoot the scene, and then they'd be like, cut, and then you hear the tile cutting again.
Dude.
That reminds me of something.
Yeah.
But the house that we got, you know, the friend that we had and the house that we got, it was worth it. But with a budget, you know, no producer would ever deliberately go through that, because I kind of felt like a union delegate.
And it sucks because you know, you're appreciative of the gentleman letting you use their house,
right.
But then at the same time, it's like, what the fuck?
Right. And it was a great house, and I don't regret it, but that does add a lot of stress onto you.
So just 2 weekends ago, we were shooting at this antique shop that we turned into a video store, and we had pretty much almost a similar experience. Not only was there a bar on the corner that was just probably about 10,000 people there, where everyone was just screaming and revving up their engines, and there's a movie shooting in there, trying to get in. But then the owner of the shop had these just two completely drunk guys who were like, while we're rehearsing a scene, he's just sitting here hitting the bongos, you know, just like really loud, like,
in the shop.
Yeah, like we're like, what the fuck? And then like he'll grab a guitar and be like, yeah, I'm gonna do a Grateful Dead concert on the sidewalk if you want to check it out. And we're just like, like, dude, we're trying to film a fucking movie here, and our boom operator was just like, it was just like, I know what you mean when there's like the that sound of that stress, but at the same time, we don't regret it because it looks fucking awesome. Like the we're appreciative that he gave us the time to even go in there and do it, and so. But if you have a budget, you pay to not deal with that shit.
Yeah, you'd pay to have a house that's already constructed. Yeah. You have full. You don't have to worry about people coming in.
They make all those on a studio, right? I mean, most of those aren't even real houses. They're just in a studio.
Yeah, and you don't have a ceiling so you could shoot.
Don't they have studios here that you can do that at?
Yeah, I mean,
and they're probably mad expensive.
Yeah, it would be nice just to have a huge warehouse that you can just soundproof and then just build whatever you want.
Yep. Yeah, and then you hear horror stories about people on those big, huge studio lots where they like flood the whole thing and they make full C movies and shit in them.
Yeah,
that shit's crazy.
How did you guys go about like raising a budget? Do you have any tips on raising a budget for an independent project? Or
well, the first half, we put in the money ourselves, and then we did a Indiegogo campaign. I think we made about $1,200 off of that, and we used that for the last segment, and then the wraparound story that we're doing in January, and then we'll have a premiere in March.
Not bad.
Yeah,
not bad at all.
You just got to keep going. That's the thing. It's like because now a lot of the crew that they're finished with this segment. Everyone goes home, but it's like Kevin and I, we're editing for the next month, playing catch up. Like I'm still editing. I'm working on the very first segment that we did the beginning of the year because that's still not finished, and we're doing a lot of the audio for that. And he's tackling the second one, and then we'll probably tackle the third one together. And then
so we got to give a big shout out to Kevin and Shannon. Congratulations!
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh
yeah, that was pretty cool. I saw that video.
Yeah, that was a fun evening because we literally had just finished the entire film. We finished the third segment.
I was wondering why all the cameras and shit were there.
Yeah, and well, the final scene that we shot was she's killing her friend in the bathroom, and there was just, I don't want to go into details, but there was a lot of blood to clean up. So Christina, she was the actress. She came out, and I just made this just like row of paper towels so she can walk out and witness the proposal because I was like, I don't have time to clean all this up right now because it's gonna happen. But
that was cool. So you got to see it.
Yeah. That's cool. That was a really fun night.
Well, congratulations. Happy for him. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's the runtime for the anthology?
It should be, let's see, each segment is about 20 minutes long, including the wraparound. So 20, 40, it'll probably be about an hour and a half.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And then do you guys also do your own music and score, or do you have someone else do that?
Bruce Spray is going to be our composer. He also composed My Secret War.
Okay, cool. It's like original music and stuff.
Mm-hmm, yeah. And so we sent him the first segment, 17 minutes of it is edited, and we sent him a rough copy of it just so he can feel inspired. One of the segments is actually more of a romantic comedy, and it's to kind of break things up genre-wise throughout it, but what's cool is all three stories tie together, the characters tie together, and all of the tragedies that are happening in all these people's lives revolve around this one figure, Dr. Seville.
That's cool. And
that's what the last segment will be about.
What about Foley? Do you guys do any Foley?
Oh yeah. Right now we're finished editing. We're finished editing the three segments, and then once we're done, we'll go through and figure out, okay, we need this sound here, and then we'll go to a studio and do all of the.
You gotta just do a mix of Foley and like sounds from the set and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Because you want it as organic as possible. So we have someone else that's cleaning up all of the dialogue, audio, and everything, and then we'll
like outsourcing, like a sound engineer or something.
Yeah. Or wait, what do you mean?
You mean like you have someone doing the sound?
Yeah, we have someone that's gonna perfect all of the dialogue audio that was caught on set, and then while they're doing that, we'll do all the sound effects in another studio, and then we have a composer doing all the music, and then we'll all come together at the end.
That's cool, man.
Is that where you go and like have the chains and stuff and fucking you hit
Yeah, sometimes you have, yeah. Well, yeah. I know on IMAX, they're so loud, those cameras. I don't think any dialogue or anything on set's film. They have to do all the dialogue.
Oh
and
my God,
everything,
no shit.
all the Foley.
Peter
over
Jackson does it. Peter Jackson, he'll do the entire film and then bring all the actors back into a studio and do the entire film again, just the audio.
It's because that
all
camera,
the
the
dialogue.
IMAX camera is so loud.
Yeah. He
Wow.
demands perfection. And so when you're in a controlled environment in a studio picking up all the dialogue, it's like the most perfect way you can pick it up. You can only get so perfect being on set with a boom mic near it. It's good to have that, but
It's got to be hard though for like the actors to come back and
It is.
redo
I've
their
done it. It
lines.
sucks.
Yeah.
probably get
sucks
paid
ass.
a lot though.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I
You're
have to do
professional.
ADR
Yeah.
pretty soon for a film I was in last year, and I guess coincidentally my scene, the audio is all messed up, so I have to go in and ADR it. I'm like, dang it.
Yeah, that shit. I was excited to do it when I first did it because I had never done it before, and I've seen it in the behind the scenes. I was like, yeah, that sounds cool. And then when you're doing it, you're like, man, this is really hard to recreate this.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Scene.
Especially if it's really demanding. Luckily, this thing it's a comedy, so it's not really.
Like I remember back in the day watching Hayden Christensen doing ADR for episode 3.
Yeah.
And then even to the point where the lightsaber duels, he's watching them fight, he's going, I'm not kidding. And then George Lucas is like, that doesn't sound real. And he goes, give me 50 push-ups. And Hayden Christensen's like, what the fuck? And he does 50 push-ups. He's a little tired, and he's like, he's like, okay, that's good. You know what I mean? Like,
that's crazy.
yeah.
That's smart.
Yeah, like you do shit like that. So, and then of course everyone's had to seen that video of Hugh Jackman when he's running through the forest doing ADR.
Yeah.
That shit's so badass.
Yeah.
I love
Hugh
seeing
Jackman's a bad
that.
motherfucker.
He just goes fucking 110 constantly, you know.
My brother, always told my brother that's what he should do, is go fucking be like a sound,
I know. I
Foley sound.
always
engineer.
wanted, when I was in my early 20s, when I got into sound, I fucking was obsessed with that Foley shit.
Yeah.
Like when they're pulling out swords,
Yeah.
or even just walking, or this, you know, if a horse, you just
Yeah.
making the sounds for it. And that shit's fucking, that shit looks so fun.
Yeah.
Like those guys would just be in a room like this with just like tools and all kinds of crazy shit on the walls. Oh, let's grab this and fucking
Yep.
just
Yeah. I
get
love
real
that.
high and fucking
like
watch the video.
making the sounds for like Star Wars weapons and Chewbacca. Or
Well, that shit's
R2-D2.
next level because that's Brett Burt.
Yeah.
And he would combine 2 or 3 different random things. Like, I forgot what the lightsaber
Different
is. It's
animal
like
sounds.
Different animal sounds for Chewbacca.
Lightsaber, isn't that like a
like
like a wire? It's hitting like or it's a guitar, something like a
I
guitar.
thought
Or
it was
something?
like that and like a TV light tube or I
Yeah.
don't know, something.
Yeah.
But that's a fucking art form in itself too. Just combining different sounds to create unique sounds for characters, you know, like Chewbacca's sound and R2-D2 sound, and there's one guy
the blasters or
remember we saw him at the Star Wars convention.
yeah, we nerded out on him.
I was like, this is fucking bad.
Yeah, that shit was crazy, bro. We saw a lot of fucking cool people at that, and that actually flowed decent. You know what I mean? I haven't been to a convention in a long time, but that was one of the last ones I went to, and that was one of the best just for how the place flowed. It wasn't.
Yeah, I just realized we could have had so much more fun the first day if we didn't spend so much time running around getting all those toys that we could have just got on eBay right after.
Yeah. Fucking dorks.
Yeah. We went to Celebration
Celebration 3.
3, it was like 2006 or 7.
It was the 30th anniversary.
Yeah. It was right after episode 3 came out.
Bad as fuck.
So 2005.
I saw Adam Hughes there.
But it was
bro.
after us, so I think it was 2006 or 7. But
Gotcha.
yeah, that's when it did come out. Episode 3 came out in 2005.
We walked in, and we're like the second day, we're like walking around, just checking everything out. I'm walking, and I look over, and there's fucking Adam Hughes. You know who Adam Hughes is, right? The artist. Fucking just chilling. Nobody's at his table, nothing. I freaked out.
Well, for people who don't know who it is.
He's one of the best fucking comic book artists in the fucking biz, and he's my favorite.
Like, what did
artist.
he do? Like,
He did this badass Catwoman number 51 cover.
The one that's on your wall?
Yeah, the one's on my wall.
Okay,
Where she's
nice.
holding the lost numbers. He does a lot of beautiful shit. And walked up to him, and you know, artists will usually use sketches at cons. They have a list. And I'm like, hey, is anybody on your list yet? Do you have any spots available? He's like, yeah, nobody's done it yet. I'm like, what the fuck? There's movies that are made. There are movies that are made about people trying to, like, camping out at comic conventions to be first in line to get this guy's sketch on a sketch list. And because he was at a Star Wars convention, nobody knew who he was. So, yeah, it was sweet. I got a fucking badass 8x10 full color sketch from Adam Hughes.
Oh,
it was bad as fuck, man.
Signed and everything,
man. Nice. It's a 101. Like, and I got him to do Padme from, remember when in episode 3 or episode 2? Episode 2, yeah. Where she's they're in that arena and they're fighting those
Geonosis.
Yeah, and she's got the white, like, and she's like a midriff, like, cut. She's badass looking. She's got those chains. Got him to draw that. And that's all I told him. I told him exactly what I said right there.
He did that one?
Yeah, I told him exactly how I told it right there, and he's like, okay, and he remembered it and just sat there for like 2-3 hours doing it.
Right. Oh wow.
Yeah, right there. Remember, we had to wait because it was taking so long, and we really wanted to get home.
No, I thought there was other sketches, and they were like, come back in a couple days. Didn't you get on a couple other artists' lists?
Yeah, and they took 2 days. Yeah, they took days. Yeah.
I remember waiting 3 hours to get what's his name, Kenny Baker's autograph. You know who that is? The little midget that plays R2D2.
Oh, okay.
But it took 3 hours because he was. I mean, I don't even know if he realized where he was at, to be honest with you. Like, he was sitting there
half dead,
in his hands, and it took about 20 minutes to sign one autograph, and he'd just be like,
it was sad, dude.
And then after he'd sign one, like, some guy would come over and pick him up, and he'd take like a 30-minute break, and then we're like, fuck, and then he'd come back and sign another one, and I'm like, oh my god, I waited 3 hours for that shit. But yeah, we got his autograph and shit. What I'm trying to say is I felt bad. By the time I got up there and he was signing it, and I was just like, fuck, I feel like a dick.
They're fucking taking Stan Lee around all these fucking
conventions. I know, he had no idea what he was doing.
And I literally grab his hand and put it on the thing and go, sign. And then they take his hand off and put it.
They actually sign it.
Yeah, fucking dude. He was dead, dude. He was dead for like 3 months on that, too. Yeah, I mean, it was like Weekend at Bernie's, bro.
I forgot who
why
it
he had
was,
those dark sunglasses.
Is it someone close to him getting sued?
Kevin Smith.
No, not Kevin Smith.
Oh, Kevin Smith is one of the guys that came out and said,
no.
There's something wrong here.
I know.
He's dead.
Some family member or somebody's getting sued or something.
Yeah, they
daughter or something.
They took blood from him, and they were going to make a stamp of his signature.
You've been checking that, right?
Yeah. Oh. Good call. Thank you, sir. Jesus. So they were taking his blood, and they made a stamp of his signature, and they were gonna stamp his signature in blood and then put it on comics and sell it as part of like a DNA signed comic by Stan Lee. How crazy is that shit, dude? Yeah, dude.
That is crazy.
Yeah. So.
But if it existed, I'd want it.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyways, yeah, that was crazy. So
what else has been going on, man?
That's pretty much it. I mean,
so I wanted to ask you a question.
What's up?
Do you believe in aliens?
Yeah.
I was wondering.
I thought we already talked about this.
We didn't talk about aliens, did we? Last time me and you did.
On the show.
You came over and we hung out. I mean, you talked about aliens. But I know this guy fucking loves aliens, so I just thought I thought I would actually sit back and get high and listen to you guys talk about aliens.
All right, well. How much time do you have after the show?
Why are you only talking about aliens on camera?
Do you believe in them?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
100%.
I have a whole bookshelf of stuff. I didn't go this year, but every year prior, I would go to the UFO Congress.
Yeah.
And it's the biggest convention in the world for that subject.
Alejandro Rojas puts it on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I've met all the greats. I met Stanton.
Stanton T. Friedman?
Yeah, I met him before he died.
Yeah.
Because he just passed away not too long ago.
Yeah.
And I met him, and I felt like
Who's
such
that?
an idiot. Cause
He's that weird dude that you see on all the like alien documentaries. He's got that crazy beard. He's kind of old. He's got the glasses.
he's like the king of ufology.
Yeah.
Like he's
a
mean,
nutcase.
Yeah. I love him though.
Yeah.
And I got his book signed, and I remember it was a few years ago, and I went to talk to him, and I was so starstruck meeting him, and he was like, "Do you have any questions for me?" And I was like, "No." I had a billion questions for him, and I always regret that, but it was cool to get his book because it's like an updated version of the Interrupted Journey.
Yep.
The Betty and Barney Hill story. Yep. So
it's
a really good
where
read.
You got to start.
Yep.
I was just the other day looking through some of my shit that I got, and I actually had an Art Bell book forever up here on this shelf. Like other shows, you can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But man, I grew up fucking listening to Coast to Coast AM every night when I was young, man. That was always when I'd go to bed, Coast to Coast AM with fucking Art Bell.
Yeah.
Do you remember the episode he did with when that dude called in that said he was flying a plane, and he was calling in from the plane, and he's like, "Yep, getting ready to go over Area 51. We're gonna see what's over there."
Right.
And Art Bell's like, "Don't do it, dude. You're dumb. Don't do it." He's like, "Nope. Here we go. Oh my God, there's another plane following me." You know what I mean? And it's probably fake as fuck, but hearing a kid, and you hear him, he goes, the radio goes silent on it, and
right.
Being a kid, you're like, holy shit, did that really happen? You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
We used to be scared as fuck about that shit, man.
It's supposedly the most secure facility in the world. Not just Area 51, but more specifically S4.
Yes.
Which is like 70-something miles south.
Yep.
And near Groom Lake, and supposedly that's where they actually keep all the crafts that have crashed over the years.
Bob Lazar, right?
Yeah, Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar was right, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Fucking bet you feel stupid now.
Who knows? I really love Mike Schratt. He's an aerospace draftsman. He actually lives in Tempe, and he did this really cool thing at the UFO Congress in 2011. They're all on YouTube, and he did this one where he goes into the specific layout of S4 and how there's 5 levels to S4, and he was talking about all the specific levels and how they actually have
alien environments.
Captive, alien in this sphere in the bottom. And he said one of the weirdest things is when you go down there, you can start hearing him like through your thoughts because they're telepathic.
Shit.
And so they have to keep them far enough away from everyone so whatever can't have the ability to tap into your brain. And
did you ever hear
really
the Tom DeLonge interview on Jimmy Church Radio?
Mm-mm.
So you know who Tom DeLonge is?
Yeah.
So
I heard the name, yeah.
Tom DeLonge is the guitar player for Blink-182. He's always been into UFOs and shit like that too, and he really got into it when he would be on tour. He would listen to Coast to Coast and read UFO books. So turns out like he met this fan, and the fan had said something that their father worked high in government, and he said, he just took that opportunity. He's like, "Did your dad ever talk about UFOs?" And the kid's like, "Yeah." And so got him in contact with them, and then Tom DeLonge just became this like
That's
UFO
how he went
insider.
downhill?
Yeah. He became this UFO insider, right?
I shouldn't say downhill.
Yeah, crazy. But he's the reason that we're getting all these ATIP videos.
I was wondering your thoughts on him.
Yeah, at first I thought he was a nut. So real quick, I'll explain. He met an insider in the UFO stuff, and ever since the late 70s, the government has been trying to figure out a way to bring the UFO knowledge to us in a way that we won't freak out about it. They tried to do it through Disney in the late 70s, and they were going to do this documentary, and it got pulled 2 days before the documentary aired. So they've been waiting, and they kind of have been following social media and shit and seeing, the young people don't really care. It's not going to freak young people out. Excuse me, it's not going to freak young people out. It's just going to freak out like old people. So if we can get to the young people,
goddamn Reefer Madness generation.
That Reefer Madness generation, yeah. So they're like, okay, here's a guy that they all fucking love, and Blink-182, and he's our in. And he came to him and basically said, "I'm your in. Like, let me release some of this information. And so I used to think he was a nut until the email stuff got found on the Clinton stuff. Bob, what's the chief of staff's name of the Clintons? That his email got hacked, and that's how all of that Clinton drama.
Oh, Weiner.
No, not Anthony Weiner. Podesta, John Podesta. So John Podesta's emails got hacked. You remember that? And,
yeah.
Well, guess what? And you can go look and see all those emails because WikiLeaks or whatever put them up. Guess who's in those emails? Fucking Tom DeLonge and his insiders, John Podesta. Mm-hmm. John Podesta has been talking about aliens ever since Clinton was in office. That's why everybody asked Clinton about aliens. Fucking Tom DeLonge was really talking to somebody high up in the government. Mm-hmm. So that's what kind of made me go, holy shit, this is real, right? Then what happens? Those ATIP videos comes out from the Navy, from the one off the coast of San Diego, the other off the coast of Florida. Mm-hmm. Those two, that one Tic Tac UFO and the other gimbling one. Mm-hmm. And then that fast clocker of that one satellite photo where they catch it on the camera and they fucking lock it in and that thing's flying. Then you have fucking pilots come out who are some of the best red hat pilots in the world, right?
One of them was on Rogan recently.
Yeah, and he came out and he said, "Yeah, we see him. Here's my when they're talking about it, him in particular, he's like, holy shit, look at them all off the side. There's a fucking ton of them. Mm-hmm. So the shit's coming out, and Tom DeLonge's pushing that stuff out. You know what I mean? So, that's really fucking cool. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much of it is. I think part of it is Tom DeLonge going, I can make some money off of this because he's also tying in that entertainment company where they're making all those movies and stuff. Mm-hmm. They're making movies about UFOs, like fantasy movies and shit, which is just kind of weird to me. Like,
you mean not like fiction?
Yeah,
that is weird.
Yeah, it's because I mean,
when he was on Rogan, it was very odd.
He was all coked up. That's why. That dude was so coked up on Rogan.
I would say Adderall, but
Adderall.
Rogan is so into UFOs, and I thought he would love to talk to Tom.
It's because
but
Tom
you could
was
tell
so
he
fucked up.
You could tell he was fucked up, but also Joe Rogan can tell about that angle what you were just mentioning about the entertainment company he was promoting.
Bullshit. Yeah, it's bullshit.
So my question is, did those emails happen after the Rogan episode or before? Do you know?
After. Well, I think it happened before.
You know what I mean?
I can't remember because when those emails happened, Tom DeLonge went underground for a while. He stayed silent because they told him we need to have everything calm down for a bit. Go shut up, and he went and shut up for like 6 months. You didn't hear nothing from him, mm-hmm. And then and the reason why is because they said, go shut up for 6 months. We'll give you some videos to release when you're done. And that's when those videos, he started his business, and the business/research facility group that he created is called To the Stars. Mm-hmm. And so they've got Hal Puthoff as one of their main, guys. They've got Louis Elizondo, the guy who ran the Pentagon's UFO Black Project group, mm-hmm. for 5-6 years. It's an $8 billion a year, $22 billion a year thing, right? That's going towards UFO research and what did he say? He said, the government knows about them, and we know as little as you do. That all we know is that they're out there and they do things that we can never even dream of. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, and I've always been fascinated by Lockheed Martin and Skunkworks.
Yeah,
and what they're carrying, because the chairman
Kelly Johnson, man, Ben Rich.
Yeah, Ben Rich.
Yeah,
Ben Rich. There was that quote back in 1994 before he died. He was like, take everything you've seen in Star Trek and Star Wars and add 50 years to that.
Yeah, he said we have the ability to take ET home.
Right.
That's what he said before he died.
Yeah, if you can think it, we've done it.
Yep. Fucking unbelievable,
man. And it's so secure. And then all of a sudden, like, magically the stealth bomber came out, the B-2 stealth bomber. Yeah. And apparently, according to Mike Schratt, the aerospace draftsman, he was talking about the specifics of, and I could be dead wrong, so you can correct me on this, but the stealth bomber apparently has these isotopes on the wingtips that spin frozen mercury around so quick, and apparently what that does is it causes a distortion in the inertia effect. So crafts like that could take much harder turns without you being smacked up against the wall by like 60% or something like that. But apparently that kind of technology was inherited from
crashed
vehicles, and they're back engineering and putting it into their military, militarized type vehicles and stuff.
Yeah, behind what's that one guy's book? Something that Roswell book? He was a 4-star general, Colonel Corso, Philip J. Corso.
Yeah.
He did a book where that's exactly what he talks about, that most of the technology that we got that has created the age we've got right now was found at the crash in
the 50s.
Yeah, fiber optics and LED. They say that came from there, because we had like
vision,
tube TVs, and then all of a sudden now we just have these flat panels.
The integrated circuit, right? So the computer chip.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that how in that book how they talk about how we got night vision, that kind of came from one of the dead ones that they found, those big black things on their eyes. That's like a film that you could pull off, and that's how we got night vision.
Yeah,
a film off of an alien's eye.
Yeah. I love another person I met who's actually even bigger rock star to me. Like anyone in that kind of field is like rock stars to me. And it was Travis Walton.
Oh, yeah.
I've met him twice. And the first time I met him, I walked up to his booth and he wasn't around. And I'm looking at all the brochures, the free stuff, and I'm like picking it up and looking at it. And he just places his hands on the table, and I look up. I'm like, oh my God, it's you. And can I get your picture and everything? And I've always been fascinated with his story, especially like the specifics when he talks about what they looked like and everything, and how he felt when he looked into their eyes, and how.
Well, tell about that, because I don't know. I've never heard that.
It's really fascinating, because if you watch the movie, and I brought that up because they did a movie called Fire in the Sky.
That movie scared that's one of the scariest movies of all time.
Right, and it never happened.
Yeah, I know.
That's the sad part. And so I asked him. I said, "Are you planning on doing any remakes to make up for that piece of shit that was made in the 90s?" I said that to him. He started laughing because he agreed. And apparently, like the last few years, he's been working with different networks trying to do a television series about his experience. But basically, when he woke up, long story short, it was by accident. He was in the wrong place, wrong time, gets abducted. His friends come back, couldn't find him. But he said when he woke up, and he said he had enough adrenaline in his body to jump off the table that he was on, because he thought he was just like in a doctor's office. And he gets up and he sees these beings, and he said they have eyes just like ours, but they're like 5 times bigger. So like your cornea and your retina and everything, like all of that is just much, much larger, and they actually have whites in their eyes too. You just can't really see it because they're so large. And they blink just like us and everything. And he said when he looked into their eyes, it was like the feeling of like a dog looking into our eyes.
Battery died on it, I think.
Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
You just keep going.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, he said it was like how a dog would look into our eyes. He said, I didn't feel like I was in any danger, but the feeling I got was like they didn't care one way or another.
Yeah.
They were just peaceful, but they were looking at us like, well, you're just human.
Yeah. I love that thing with Travis Walton, because you're 100% right. That movie was all about just trying to make money and create a frightening movie-going experience.
Yeah.
And the craziest part is what you said, is that was by accident. They didn't mean he shouldn't have been there.
Right.
And they saved his life because they grabbed him, and then they probably brought him back to life. And so it was the exact opposite of the movie, where there are these scary things and stuff. And
I didn't like that, because they already do that in a lot of alien movies, and I don't believe that a lot of these beings, or what people would depict as like the Greys, I don't believe that they're evil beings, that are here to do harm to people. Yeah. And
I don't know, because that's where I was going with the whole Tom DeLonge thing.
I think there could be entities that do that too, but I don't think that they're all.
I agree.
I don't believe that whatever Travis Walton experienced, they were bad, because now he goes back and he says, I have so many regrets on how I behaved. I wish I'd been more calm and just let them do whatever they.
Oh, you're scared shitless.
Of course. I mean, imagine you waking up to that. Like, it's no one on the planet could say like, oh, I know how I would react.
So did
Nobody.
they or did they not probe his butt?
No, they didn't do anything.
No.
He did say though, when he was abducted, he said he grabbed some sort of like tool or device off a shelf and he started swinging at him, and they left this room, and he left this room and he went into this other corridor and he started messing with this control panel on a chair. And he said that this man stepped into the room. He was wearing this blue jumpsuit, but he was like super tall, broad shouldered, blonde haired, blue eyed dude. And he started talking to him. He thought he was being rescued, and he didn't say anything to him. And he goes, all he remembered was he grabbed his wrist and he started pulling him to this other corridor area. He said he remembered getting off of this ship. It was like the same craft that he saw that night. And he was getting off and he was going into this other like other room inside this huge facility, and he goes in there and he there was a bunch of other really tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed people in these jumpsuits, men and women. And he said the one thing that he remembers specifically was they were all really buff and they were really strong.
And these are humans?
And these were humanoid-looking.
Like they're
people.
probably like a hybrid, maybe.
Yeah, he said there was something off about their eyes, but they looked very human. But he said they were very tall and strong. He said that was one thing he really emphasized, was just how strong both the men and women were. And they like held him down and gassed him. And then the next thing he remembered was waking up in Overguard. I think that's where it was, like Overguard.
Yeah, Heber Overguard.
Yeah, this was 1975 in November. And he was left off on the side of the road. And he just remembers the craft flying away. And then he called his brother. And they found him, and then him and all of his friends who were loggermen who witnessed that evening and all those events, they all went under lie detector tests for decades. It always came up, same story, nothing ever changed.
Yep. Are they all still alive?
Yeah, no.
Not all of them, but I think some of them still.
One of them kind of did something dickish where he took some money to say Travis was lying, and and then he had to come out, and then a couple years later he came out and because he felt like such a dick and was like, yeah, I took money because of that. So
what the fuck?
Yeah. And Travis is getting old. He's got to be 70s.
Yeah, he was born in 1952, so he's in his mid 60s. But it's just such a fascinating story.
It is.
I would love to redo it and actually just redo just a lot of like how the ship actually looked like, and what he actually saw in there and everything.
Yeah.
And they didn't do it justice in that movie.
Have you heard about these people that are doing these weird what is that called, like when you yoga type stuff? Meditate. There we go. Jeez, fucking weed, bro. Weed. Like they do this weird meditating type thing in these forests, and they're from somewhere in South America, like Brazil or something.
Oh, and they summon UFOs?
Yeah. Dude, like that shit is crazy.
Yeah.
That who's the guy that runs presidentialufo.com? He's the Canadian UFO guy, really famous. You'd know him if you heard. God, we don't have Jamie. Dan
Aykroyd?
No, close. I can't remember his name right now. Anyways,
he's big on that.
Yeah.
Remember on Joe Rogan when
I saw that one.
He just kept going on and on about all these different abduction stories, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know he has no papers or anything in front of him. This is all coming out of his head."
Yeah.
I love how Joe Rogan does that. Like,
yeah.
He'll throw out some fucking really cool people that might not
have a chance to get their word out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
he's given a lot of people platforms and made them fucking famous, and now they're, like Jordan Peterson, Ben Shapiro.
Jordan Peterson. I saw his film that was banned from all the theaters.
Yeah.
There was one guy in the Valley, a friend of ours, that he actually bought all the tickets at the Chandler Harkins Theater for the Rise of Jordan Peterson, and I got a ticket and I saw it. And if you guys are really big Jordan Peterson fans and you've seen all of his YouTube videos, there's about 40 minutes of the material in the movie you haven't seen. The rest of it is just kind of like the best of and kind of put into this documentary, but it was really good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, he's pretty cool.
I saw a bunch of really cool psychedelic shirts of his that people are selling.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's definitely important. An important person in this time.
And if
this
Joe
time
Rogan
period.
didn't give him the platform to speak his side of the story, because there was a time where the media just
Would have
completely
crucified him.
Yeah, and no one. That's why, get back, we were talking about Rogan, is he's the most open-minded motherfucker ever. He'll have.
He really is.
As a matter of fact, like this, food and health shit stresses me the fuck out, because we've been lied to our entire lives, so I don't know what to believe. The food pyramid, milk, all this bullshit. And then, this documentary Game Changers comes out, and I watched it, and for like a week I was like, fuck, should I stop eating meat? And then sure as shit, what does Rogan do? He has Chris Kresser, who is another guy I love, fucking debunk Game Changer.
Yeah.
But
I
now
just started listening to that
guess
one.
what's happening? Next, I don't know if it's next week, but coming up, the producers of Game Changer is going to go on to debate Chris Kresser on there.
Badass.
You know what I mean? Like, how that's awesome.
I'm telling you, Rogan's the new Johnny Carson, man.
Yeah.
He's the new Johnny Carson plus, because he's doing cool shit like that.
And
Well, it's long
completely
form, and it's
Yeah.
not like having to go to break, and
Yeah.
people are actually getting to express their thoughts and
and
fully formed
there's
sentences.
there's no alternative motives. There's no someone's making money off it, so you can't say this.
Yeah.
It's just completely free, open conversation.
Well, what's funny is when he was accused of that is when he had forgot his name, Jack, the guy from Twitter.
Yeah.
And then he got ridiculed. Oh, because he's sponsored by one of the, like, Cash App, and I guess Cash App's owned by the Jack guys. Who's like, oh, you didn't grill him because he's paying your bills and shit. What does he do? He comes back and he had that other guy on who fucking hates him and let him grill him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to show, like, look, I don't care. I'll grill this motherfucker.
Yep.
So yeah, Rogan's really changed the way. I think he's scaring a lot of people.
Well, it's also the way you view people. Like, for instance, like Dr. Phil. I was never been a fan of Dr.
No,
Phil.
but if you listen to it, it's.
But when I was
like,
on his
he's
show,
like,
I was like, wow, this guy actually feels this way about prescription medication. Like, he really doesn't like it very much, and he thinks that all,
he's a
natural
thoughtful guy.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, I
thought that too. That's what he said. There's a fuckload of people that go on Rogan that I just listen to. I'm like, well, I never would have thought I'd like this guy.
And Roseanne Barr, I really like how he's helped her.
Yeah. But
He's the only one that stuck up for her.
She's a
He's
nut,
the only
She
one.
is a nut,
But I got respect for him sticking up for her.
Yeah,
Well,
because
because
now you look at it for what it really is, like her mental illness, and how that's not entirely Roseanne. That's just an aspect of Roseanne.
And not only that, he always
Unfortunate
reminds
aspect
people
of
that she
Roseanne.
was in a very bad, I think, either hit by a car or a car accident
Right.
where she hit her head and pretty much was fucked up mentally.
Right.
since.
But has she done anything that's actually caused serious harm to anyone ever?
No, she's fucking great, dude.
You know what I mean?
She was drunk
That's
on
just
funny.
fucking
She's a
Ambien one
comedian.
night and said that one comment. And
She's a
lost her whole show.
comedian.
right. It's like
Comedians
Yeah, I know.
walk a fine line, and you gotta
Yeah.
get, every once in a while they're gonna make a mistake. So you gotta give them a pass every once in a while. They're fucking comedians.
Yeah, like Louis C.K. I fucking love Louis C.K.
Yeah.
He's the funniest motherfucker ever.
Yeah.
I mean, he asked.
Yeah.
He did.
yeah.
He didn't just whip it out.
Well,
He asked.
my take on that is if Louis C.K. or if Rob Lowe can get away with what he did, then why?
Dude,
Yeah.
all those
Louis
motherfuckers
CK?
did the craziest shit ever.
Yeah.
All, you know what I mean? All fucking. I mean, I'm not saying never mind.
But you know what? If Louis C.K. did that back in, let's say, 1995,
But if,
it wouldn't even be a thing. Like, we wouldn't be
Uh-uh.
talking about it right now.
Joey
No, but-
Diaz is still fucking pulling his nuts out on stage and shit. You know what I mean? How is he not getting in trouble for any of that shit ever?
Because he's Joey Diaz.
I know exactly.
I think, I think it's also because Joey Diaz is one of the most disagreeable people on earth. So it's like, would you ever want to just argue about anything
Yeah.
that he's ever
He doesn't
doing?
care.
Yeah.
He would just start yelling, going ballistic. Like he Joey Diaz is capable of shutting Alex Jones up.
Yes.
If you can
That was
yell,
so
That's one of the
funny.
funniest shit
yell
ever, yeah.
Alex Jones and
Yeah.
shut him up and make him turn red.
Yeah. That's
Like-
one of the best videos
Yeah,
that's out there.
Yeah, that's like old school.
That's the ultimate mic drop.
I remember, and Joe Rogan like lost his shit. Like he was laughing so hard he couldn't breathe. He just leaves.
Oh man.
Big dicks in your ass are bad for your health. Stay black. He's out. He leaves.
That was pretty cool, man. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, fucking. What were we just talking about? I had another point.
Aliens.
Oh,
Aliens.
no, it was
Oh, yeah,
after the
aliens.
It was in between the aliens to now. We started talking about other shit.
Louis C.K.
Louis C.K.
Oh, yeah, Louis.
Comedians.
Yeah, Louis will be back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I
Like
thought
his fans
about-
aren't going away. When he does
No.
his shows, people still go there and laugh their ass off and are stoked when they see him. And
Dude, I got a favorite new comedian, man, and I've been talking about him for
Andrew.
a while. Yeah, he's my favorite new comedian.
Andrew
man. Scholes.
Scholes, yeah.
Fucking funniest dude out there. Like I put him right now. Him and Ari are like neck and neck. You know what I mean?
You know, Ari finally does video podcast now.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's funny too because I hate how he does those long intros, but his recent podcast, he talked about how learning video podcasting is stressing him out. And he feels like he's at day one from podcasting again, but it's also fun because he's like, and he was saying how there's no videos on literally how to do it and shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of cool that he has a video now.
Yeah.
But anyway, you got what are you gonna do after the premiere? Just take a break, or you got something else lined up?
Probably take a break in April a little bit because March we'll have the premiere for Dr. Seville's horror show, and then in April I'll know this in February, but in April I'll have 2 films coming out at the Phoenix Film Festival.
Cool.
My Secret War has been submitted. We'll know in February if we get it if it gets submitted.
Oh, it'll be in there, bro.
And then the film that I did at SCC called Student Film. It's a comedy that I starred in.
It's called Student Film.
It's called
That's
Student Film.
fucking actually kind of genius.
Well, it's about a 22-year-old like cocky kid from college and thinks I have this all figured out, and he wants to do this short film to impress his teacher, and everything that you can think of that goes wrong on a film set goes wrong on him, and he loses his shit. And so it was a fun comedy that I got to be in, and then that we'll know in February if that
you acted in.
Yeah.
That one, that's cool.
Yeah. It was cool because you know Scott Levesque?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He actually told me about the role. He goes, "There's this capstone project, and there's this lead role that we think that you would be really funny at." And I was like, "Okay, I'll take a look." And read it, and I auditioned, and I got it.
That's badass. I was just gonna ask you about acting if you're gonna get back into it. But.
Actually, I'm doing the biggest role I've ever done next month.
Oh, sweet.
I'm playing Dr. Seville.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you're Dr. Seville.
Yeah, they finally released it on IMDb. I wasn't supposed to say anything, but
That's cool.
yeah.
You were the whole time. You knew that you were him.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I just never really thought about it much because I was so focused on getting the other segments done and everything. And
So you shoot that in January?
yeah, we start shooting in January. So I'll probably for the next week I'll probably just be editing like crazy, and then that's when I'll start prepping because I'll probably need like a good 3 weeks to a month to prep and get into this character. I actually found out today because I go to the gym every morning with Kevin, and we get there, and he told me that he was like, I was at Craig's last night, and we were talking about your character and everything, and he started talking about it, and we stood there before we started working out. We stood there for like a half hour just talking. He was just telling me about all this, and now it's like it's really sinking in. It's giving me some ideas on how I can ground this person. And yeah, I could just tell you that it's much more complex than I thought. It's not your typical like Freddy Krueger type villain. There's a lot of complexities to his personality, but in a nutshell, he's a djinn.
A what?
He's possessed by a djinn, like a genie.
Yeah.
And so that's never been done before in horror. So we were thinking, why not take a character that's actually like all powerful, unstoppable, and will randomly terrorize you. That's never really been done before, so
That sounds cool.
That's
man.
cool as shit.
yeah. So it's still really up in the air, and it's gonna be crazy.
You already have the script?
No. I mean, it's been written. I haven't read much about it. I just kind of have an overall outline of who he is and everything, and I just found out about this today. So, yeah, I'm just in the dark as you.
You mean you just found out you're playing him today?
No. I knew I was going to play him the whole time. It's just that his character was never really solidified until just a few weeks ago, as far as exactly who he was going to be. And so
I see what you're saying.
now I have more of an idea how I can build a foundation around it.
Yeah.
Through different methods like free associative writing and things like that, depending on how deep you want to get into a character.
Yeah.
But apparently this character is possessed by two different entities, and one's good and one's bad. So it's like good versus evil, and then the human aspect of who he once was as well. So it's like three different personalities all tied into one.
That's crazy, dude.
Is this something that Kevin comes up with, or the writer, or both? Or?
Craig Chenery is our writer. Well, the name Seville, it came from a few of us. I don't want to say like I completely came up with Seville, but it is based on an actual person. And so we chose that name. So I think it was a collaboration of all four of us, to be honest with you. Kevin, Craig, Kirk, and myself, in our own unique ways. But the overall story was Craig Chenery.
Well, how did he get the story and script to you guys to get interested in the first place? Were you guys already friends?
Well, there actually was never a script, because what we wanted to do was we wanted to do a horror anthology. So like the first segment that we did, called It's Complicated, was actually a small segment that Kevin wrote that we were going to submit to this German FearCon type festival, short film festival. And so we decided to take that script and just make a short story out of it. And then Break was a story that I believe was written by Craig, that he once wrote, a short story called Break. And then Consume was actually a story that the story was thought up by Kirk Lavengard, but it was written by Craig. And then the Dr. Seville story was kind of like a collaboration of all of us. And then the overall wraparound story he actually wrote. So it's just,
But how did Craig get involved with Kevin with this?
They actually knew each other years ago when Kevin did his Friday the 13th documentary for Friday the 13th Part 3. Craig Chenery was in it because he's an expert on special effects and stuff. He's written a few books on it. And so that's how I believe that's the first time they knew each other, was years ago doing that documentary. And then they started collaborating again on films and stuff. And we actually had a much bigger project before this that we were going to do, but we didn't have the budget for it. So we decided to go this horror route, and it's actually has grown into something that we weren't even expecting. It's become much bigger than we were expecting. So
that's cool.
Yeah,
it'll be nice when it's you get this last segment and it's wrapped, huh?
Yeah. January we'll be filming it, and it'll be done in March, and then we're just gonna see how the public reacts to it. And we already have plans to do a second and third one. We already have a structured outline in case it actually, people do like it and they like what we have to offer. I
think you guys talked about it earlier when I was fixing sound, but are you shopping it or putting it on the internet, or do you have plans? Like, what are your plans for it?
Oh, so right now the whole distribution thing is still up in the air. We definitely want to sell to different regions, because we realize that, the world's really gigantic and most of the money made is internationally. I think it was like the Joker movie, 700 million of that was actually overseas.
Wow.
It wasn't even in the United States. So that's probably the route we'll go. But I think to start out, we just want to see what kind of reaction we get from the community. So we'll probably have a few premieres, probably at the Tempe Pollock Cinema, where we had the premiere for
awesome.
Secret War. Yeah, we love it. It's such an affordable place, and the Theater 1, which they usually allow you to have your premiere in, it has 290 seats. So it's like, and it's a really nice theater, and they upgraded to 5.1 audio. So.
You just rent it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very affordable, and we know that.
Can you make? Not that you want to or need to, but can you make money off of it if you sell enough tickets?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It wouldn't really be that difficult. I mean, I could tell you more specific numbers later.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's actually pretty lucrative, especially if you have a good film and you have a good following and you think you can sell the tickets. Absolutely. Or at least get your money back for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you were telling me The Joker is one of your favorite new movies now, huh?
It actually is my favorite movie, and I saw it again not too long ago.
How many times have you seen it? Twice?
Just twice, yeah. But after watching it the first time, I was like, yep, this is my favorite movie. Because the reason why, there's so many aspects to it. One, the acting is just really good.
For sure.
And I love Joaquin Phoenix. And then two, one of my all-time favorite movies is Taxi Driver.
For sure.
So here I am watching Taxi Driver.
It's a modern day Taxi Driver, for sure, yeah.
And so I love character studies. And to me, character studies are the ones that they never get boring. Because I watched Taxi Driver a few weeks before I saw The Joker again. And I watched it on Netflix, and it was in 4K. And it was like, I was just glued to it the whole time, you know? And it's like, this movie's from the 70s.
I know.
But it's like, you know, people talk about Infinity Wars. It's like, who cares about Infinity Wars anymore? Like that.
I thought you were into that.
I mean, when it came out in the theaters, like the hype and everything was great. And it was on TV the other night. And I was just like,
I don't even watch that shit
yeah,
anymore. Because even when it's hyped, because of that, I just know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I just don't care anymore.
It's
I used to fucking.
It's fun the first time. Like,
yeah, it is. Yeah,
when you've
right.
never seen it before, you know, and you get your popcorn, you got your soda, and you
Yeah.
go in, you watch Infinity Wars. It's like, it's great. But after that, it's not like, you know, it's a late night. You're on, you know, if it's late night, you know, and you're by yourself and you're like, I want to watch a movie, and you have to choose between Infinity Wars and Joker. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw in the Joker.
Yeah.
So,
Joker was badass.
You watched it?
Yeah, it was fucking good, man.
yeah.
I really liked it. It really
Watch
goes
32.
Yeah.
Cool.
I really liked I was blown away by Joaquin Phoenix, man.
Yeah.
That dude is a fucking badass.
Did you hear the Brian Callen part I was talking?
Yeah. Yeah. There was a couple parts like that in that movie where it was like weird like that.
No, I'm talking about when Brian Callen's voice
Yeah.
came on though.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
He's making fun of him, yeah.
It really touches on mental health too.
Big
I posted
time.
an article. I don't really post much on Facebook, but I posted an article recently on mental health and everything, and how the Joker movie really nails that. And, you know, about people who, you know, they walk amongst us and you never expect it. I actually had a tragedy earlier this month. I told you a little bit about it. I had a friend, like, it was like my best friend in the whole world, committed suicide on November 4th. And I found out the following day his ex-girlfriend messaged me, and it was just something I never expected.
I'm sorry, man.
Yeah. I've gotten through all the hardest parts of it, but now it's like, you know, you think about it. When I think about it, it's kind of like, you know, when you wake from those dreams where you're like, oh, I'm so glad that was a dream.
Yeah. And
But then you're like, wow, no,
real.
this is the reality of it, you know. And
is that here in Phoenix?
yeah, I was in Tempe.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, this was a friend of mine I actually lived with 2 years before it happened. I lived with him for a couple of years.
Do you have any signs or think that he was someone that would do something like that?
Yeah, he had a history of stuff. I don't know if I'm really in liberty to go into any of the details of his life, but he was a very troubled person. I met him in high school, and he progressively got more and more depressed over the years, and that's when I actually, because we were roommates, and I had to make the decision to move out because it was just, he was just getting involved with stuff that I didn't want to get involved with, and and it was just like, and then that's when I started working with Kevin, and then I found out, I think it was like 2 years later. I hadn't really talked to him or see him. I wouldn't say I was deliberately ignoring his phone calls, but he had just, you know, like certain people where you just see that look in their eyes, and it's like you've made your decision. You know what I mean? There's like nothing else that I can say or do to help you. You got to figure it out on your own.
Yes, you can't help anyone else until you help yourself. You know what I mean? And and some people never figure that out.
Right.
And you have to take care of yourself and help yourself.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. So when I watched The Joker, I watched it the first time, that didn't happen yet. But then when I saw it the second time, it had just happened, and it just
hit a little harder, huh?
It really did. It was very difficult watching it the second time, because it really just reminded me of my friend and the struggles that he went through in his life, and
Yeah, the Umbo was saying the same thing about the Joker, the mental illness shit, because I think for one thing, it just, you know, put, you know, a good eyes on that issue. You know?
Right.
You've seen a lot of artwork recently, like where it shows the Joker, and it's got that saying that he says about living life. You know, I forget how it goes.
Oh, pretending that you're not mentally ill.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah. that's a fucking pretty strong saying, and they based that whole movie around that saying. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
You know the best part is though, like while they were shooting that movie, Joaquin Phoenix was laughing his ass off having the time of his life in between takes. There was no method acting. Like him and Todd Phillips are, you know, like they were having a blast. Like they would do it like, oh yeah, let's do it like this. You know, it wasn't like this depressing, sad. You know, like,
are those on YouTube? There are a bunch of them on YouTube.
There's not necessarily him like doing like that, but there's a lot of behind the scenes. As a matter of fact, it pissed me off because I was watching it when they were dropping months before it came out, and I was like, why are they doing this? But I can't not watch it. It's one of those things where I have to watch it still.
Like
you
a
know?
car accident.
Yeah, it's like fuck, I have to see this, but it's ruining it. But it didn't really ruin too much. They were just. I think they do that shit on purpose to kind of get hype out, you know.
There's a part where,
but the thing is, they were filming in Brooklyn. Really quick, they were filming in Brooklyn, and a lot of it is people's cell phones. Like, there's whole scenes of Joaquin Phoenix when he's in the phone booth. You know, that's in Brooklyn, and there's a whole crowd of people just watching him do it. And then when he exits the phone booth, like the crew comes up with like a big black sheet and covers his head, so like as if like you didn't see him, like, you know, while you were shooting it, and walks him off, and it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I saw one where the guy had the cell phone in the window. It was like a side profile where he's doing
dancing.
The staircase.
I know that just came out.
Yeah,
I know that was cool.
Yeah,
that is cool.
He was like, because those are actually, everyone in the Bronx is pissed off because now those stairs are fucking, like, everyone's going there to fucking, you know, do that dance and shit. And
hey, it might bring business.
I know I saw this stupid little video, but all the locals are just pissed off.
Yeah, don't
you know
they
I don't know if you know how the
them?
Bronx are, but
well, it's like if you drive to the Bronx and it's like, oh, hey, we did our staircase picture,
and they leave.
What's there to eat here? Let's go look around. Or do people do that in the Bronx? I never been to the
get
Bronx.
in and get out, bro. You ain't hanging out in the Bronx.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to Yankee Stadium. My only gripe on the movie, there's two gripes, and I want to see what you guys have to say about this because I've been waiting to talk to you about this.
It's probably my same exact gripes.
And it doesn't ruin the movie. I still love the movie. It's not my favorite movie of all time, but it's you know, it's up there. I can't ever put a movie that comes out that soon in any of like my top 100 because I have to like wait a year to really place it. If that makes sense, because sometimes I feel like I get too hyped and I place it too early.
Right.
But anyway, I know they're using that staircase as a metaphor because a lot of the earlier shots are him walking up it like life sucks, I gotta go up, you know. But then he's the Joker and he's dancing. And they play that stupid fucking basketball song.
Yeah, exactly. No, you hit the nail on the head.
You could have chose. They could have used the score music, even though they had already used it in the other dance sequence. They could have used a million other fucking songs or fucking anything, but why that basketball
That's
song?
the only complaint I have, too. Yeah. When that happened, I was
Thank
like,
you. I'm glad you said that.
It should have been the most creepy, eerie music because that's the moment where he's like completely cracked. Like he's just done, you know? It's like you could have played the most ominous, chilling music.
Well, see, I've brought this up to other people, and the argument is, that's the music in his head. Like he's becoming the Joker, you know what I mean? He's getting ready. I'm like he's
pumped up.
But I could have picked 100 other songs.
He could also have done a little bit more things than he did. I wanted him to go a little crazy, you know what I mean? Like when we saw the previews, you saw him like there was a couple scenes where, now that I know the movie, I know where it was, but. You know, like when he's got the mask on, he's in that red suit, and all the people are around him and the mask, and you're like thinking he's
on the train?
Yeah, but when they were showing the behind the scenes before the movie came out, and they showed those, you're thinking like he created like this group of people mad, and he was going to take advantage of that and do crazy shit.
Yeah, more like he was fitting in.
Yeah,
because he was trying to hide from the cops.
Yeah, he was trying to hide from the cops, but you thought he was leading them.
I'll be right back. I'm going to use the restroom.
Oh yeah, you're good.
You thought that
we got to wrap real quick.
Yeah,
we got to actually wrap soon anyway. Okay. But my only other gripe, just really quick before we wrap, is because I have to pee too. Actually, and I want to know what you think about this because of your comic book knowledge. Okay, I don't think that despite of anything, the acting and how great the movie is, I don't think as in the comics. That character as Joker is smart enough to be the Joker.
I agree. He's
like
fucking,
to me, the Joker's one of the smartest fucking villains
I agree,
of all
100%.
time, and he's going toe to toe with Batman, the greatest detective in the world.
I agree 100%.
But this is the thing: is maybe I know at the end he stops taking his meds, and then maybe he becomes smarter. That's the only thing I can think of. But the decisions that he made as a human being weren't smart decisions that would become a great villain later, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like everything he created was on accident. Like you were saying, like that movement, he did that because she shot the guys in the subway, but it was kind of more like the media turned it into that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I just don't feel like I don't feel like he's smart enough to go against the Batman.
I feel like that movie was a movie that was written about somebody, and they just put the Joker stuff on.
Todd Phillips admits that.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Todd Phillips admits that.
Yeah.
Oh, like it's his own spin.
No, that it wasn't even a Joker movie, and they just found they had a really good movie, and it would have been a good movie on its own if it wasn't even about the Joker.
Either way,
yeah.
But what I was telling him is, I just don't feel like that Joker is smart enough to be the Joker that's in the comics that goes toe to toe with Batman, the greatest detective in the world. The decisions as a human being throughout that film weren't great decisions and smart. He didn't seem like an intelligent guy, unless when he stops taking his meds, maybe he is this genius, and the meds were suppressing some of his brilliance. But
yeah, I think he's just starting out, because I always thought it'd be cool, because now they're talking about a sequel, and
I don't even want a sequel.
Well, my idea would be, if Todd Phillips decides to do a sequel, I think they could do it right. If they were to make it take place like in the mid-90s, where Batman's just starting out, but don't make Batman the main character. Make him a side character. Like, you barely even see him. He's just like this shadow that's haunting him, trying to kill him. You know what I mean? Instead of actually
like early
focusing.
on,
yeah, that way you don't even really have to get to know who he is. You already know, okay, it's the son of Thomas Wayne. He's trying to kill him.
Oh, my other gripe. Why the fuck do they have to show the death of fucking Batman's parents again?
I think that's the reason why. I
just don't get it. Like we know
we all
that.
know
we
it.
all
Yeah.
know that. If you don't know that, you're an asshole.
But I think they set it up to have something like that, because they're saying like this isn't the real Joker, and I'm like, no, it could be, because that takes place in 81. So if you were to say that Arthur Fleck, he's like 35, 36 years old, and then you add 15 years to it, and you make him like a 50-year-old Joker, I think that's doable. I really think for what Todd Phillips is trying to do, because he's not making this epic grand story. These are just segments. They're character studies.
I think he just planned on the one film, and then they saw that it was the biggest selling R-rated film of all time, and they're like, yeah, we can pull a story out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If they just kept it like that, I would be happy with that too.
I would too.
I love what Matt Reeves is doing, the new Batman. Matt Reeves.
I like that too.
That's going to be pretty cool.
Every casting I get more excited for.
Well, here's the thing. Ultimately, here's what the Joker movie made me realize. That fucking Heath Ledger's a bad motherfucker. There's still nobody that touches that role. I mean, that fucking role and that version of Batman in the Christopher Nolan universe, to me, is still the best Batman all around.
Like, even, you mean outside of comics?
Yeah, outside of comics.
Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing that touches it.
I think it's because of the realism. Mm-hmm. But we don't know where this Joker's going to go.
To me, that is the best. I mean, that he made that role. The Dark Knight made that role in that whole movie.
Well, it's so good because
Batman's not the main character.
Nolan got the battle between Joker and Batman right, especially at the end when Joker's upside down. He's like, "What are you talking about? Like, this is what we do. We fucking go at each other like this." Like Nolan understood the comics. You know what I mean? Very
big time. Yeah,
and brought a realism to it.
Yeah,
but
yeah. It was a good one.
It's pretty ballsy for Joaquin Phoenix to fucking, and Jared Leto. I mean, even though I didn't really like that Joker, but to take on the role after Heath Ledger, that's a ballsy thing to do.
Yeah,
I think my opinion, Joaquin's my favorite now.
Really?
As a Joker, yeah. He is.
Just because the thing is, like, I can't say that because he's not the Joker. He didn't become the Joker until the last 5 minutes. Yeah. So, like, that's not the Joker to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he didn't.
But those last 5
there's
minutes.
no Joker thing. Like, yeah, there's a couple Joker things I guess he did, but in Christopher Nolan's film, you at least got to see the Joker do the Joker. You know what I mean? Right. But maybe we'll get to see it. I guess.
Yeah, I think it's just
we'll get to see it.
No one's ever seen how does Joker start out. No one's ever seen that before. So I think it's kind of like Batman Begins. How long was he really Batman in Batman Begins? There was like a few little snippets, and then there was the grand finale at the end. But in the Dark Knight, it was just like Batman all throughout it. So
yeah,
could be like that. Who knows?
See. Anyway, well, is there anything you want to plug or where people can find you and shit?
Yeah, just follow us on our Facebook. Dark Descent presents Dr. Seville's horror show. Premieres in March. Yeah,
we're good.
Sweet, dude. Thanks for coming on and shit.
Yeah. Oh, and the Artist Box. We have classes Monday through Thursdays. We're starting a new film program too, teaching film class. So.
Classic film and shit like that.
No, like actually making like films and
Oh.
editing and things like that. We're doing
At the Artist Box?
Yeah, we're gonna do like workshops and stuff like that.
That's sick, dude.
Do courses where you do your short film and then do like a final project and
That's
stuff.
exciting.
Yeah, we got inspired working at GCU teaching film.
Do you still guys do that?
Well, the semester's almost up, and I don't think he's gonna go back. If he goes back, I'll assist him, but I don't know if he's going to because we're just so busy with everything else. So
it's a lot. You guys are doing a lot. Shit.
Yeah.
So you want to do the shout outs real quick?
Yeah. Shout out to AZ ADHD Podcast and Strong Heart Academy. Shout out to Hempful Farms and Chris Martin. Shout out to This, That, and the Other. Shout out to Tales from the Flip Side. If you guys want to get in on some trading card table breaks, hit up Tales from the Flip Side.
QuickScopeApparel.com for all your video gaming apparel.
Absolute Geek Podcast. Check out the Absolute Geek Podcast.
Bang Salon.
I started laughing at that because I watch all your episodes and you always, if you try to bang her, I'll fucking kill you, and then you always have the reaction of that.
Well,
I was like, what should I do this time? I know what's coming.
I know, so it's not as funny, but some guests don't know that I do that.
Right.
So it's funnier when they're like, what?
Well, when you look back at the edit, you'll see that I'm mimicking you. I'm like.
Great, you're already fucking pre-production and shit, editing and stuff. I know, this is gonna look. All right, man, thanks for coming on.
Oh, yeah.
That is a wrap on the Bogcast, episode 59 with Alan Valor.